I really think your spending money should always come from a higher perspective and always be like, how is this going to help me over the long run? How do other people perceive me spending this money?
So Matt, I just joined a band and we're starting to play some shows, getting off the ground. I want to put some money into it, but I don't want to waste my fucking money. So I'm wondering, what's the best place to spend my money?
That's a good question. It does depend on the phase of the band. You know, I think for a band very, very early on,
right,
one of the best, and you don't have anything recorded even, one of the best things, or you just have like a demo that you put together so you could get shows, one of the best things you can do is put down like $20 Facebook ads so that promoters see you give a shit. Like, because especially indie promoters on the small level, if they see, oh, this band actually cared enough, not only did they post a lot about the show, but they ran an ad for it, it shows you're invested. It gets people interested, you know what I mean? You have to think about like things from the promoter's perspective. And so often, especially with new bands, promoters take a chance because the guy seems nice and then the guy doesn't post about it or doesn't talk about the show and doesn't bring anyone. So if you make it clear you're hustling, even if you don't actually bring anyone, they're going to be like, oh, well, this guy actually tried. And that's that's very important. And then it means you'll get another chance maybe, even if it doesn't go over great for you. So I think that's very important. You know, I think once you have that first recording, the key is really to hire PR and then to use that leverage from the PR to build a lot of relationships, you know, become friends with all those journalists on Twitter, talk to them on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Use that to kind of grow and build an interaction within the community. Don't necessarily ask them for favors or anything, but just be a cool guy who's receptive and helpful and growing, you know what I mean? So I really think your spending money should always come from a higher perspective and always be like, how is this going to help me over the long run? How do other people perceive me spending this money, you know? So making promoters think you're not a jackass, really important. And, you know, then obviously spending money on PR so you can have reviews you can point to, you can have people kind of start to get ideas about you. That's also really important. You know, those two things I think are really sort of the basic starting point to a lot of band promotion, and especially the very early days when you're trying to get the ball rolling down the hill, as it were.
What will good PR do to me? Like, what's bullshit PR that I shouldn't waste my time on?
They should be getting you into genre-specific publications that cover bands similar to you, right? And that also cover bigger bands. So there's a lot of scam PR companies that will just put you into really just shitty, small, scammy publications, or publications that look big that are just scammy. You know what I mean? And you gotta be very aware. You gotta be like, what other kind of results do you get? And don't be like super expecting. Don't like, you're not gonna get into fucking Rolling Stone. You know what I mean? But do be like, okay, can you get me into like, I don't know, like Alternative Nation or Alt Weekly or something? Figure out what some of the relevant publications in your genre are. Make sure that they're covering other young bands, you know, who are like look at some of the bands you haven't heard of on that publication and be like, okay, so they have a similar amount of Instagram followers, they have a similar amount of Facebook followers, which is generally a good way to be like, okay, this publication is actually going to cover small bands, but they seem to also, you know, get interviews with bigger bands. That's how you kind of know it's like a legit publication that's going to help you. Right. You know, it's usually fairly easy to tell if something's a spam publication or not, but you have to like take off the rose-colored glasses, because a lot of people will just be like, oh, these people wrote something nice about me, and not think that, oh, maybe that place only gets like 5 views a day.
Right, and this is me looking for publications myself. This isn't me like hiring a PR person.
If you're talking to a PR person, see what kind of places they get placements.
Right.
And then like figure out like, does this look like a legit thing other people in my genre care about?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You can probably research them. They'll probably have testimonials. They'll probably have, you know, if you ask, hey, if you say, hey man, could I just talk to a few other clients just so I can get an idea? Like they'll probably say, yeah, sure, here's someone. You know what I mean? Figure out why you found them and what makes them appealing to you. Like my friend Curtis Stewart, you know, who does like metal PR, he does similar he was the inspiration for Bacon Spits. He does similar content, so people see, oh, this guy's like actually part of it. He's very active on social and he's very clearly pushing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times there's PR people who are not active on social, who no one talks to, who just send your stuff out to 10,000 publications and it doesn't actually get covered anywhere because they don't have relationships. So try to see the kind of relationships. You know, don't be demanding or over the top about it, but just be like, hey, can I just give me some background?